Hello everyone, and welcome to my Duel Today official news channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The spoilers for Tuesday, December 5's episode of Days of Our Lives indicate that Stefan Demira surprised Ava Vitali at the bistro. When she realized he had scared her, she became irate and found out that Clyde Weston had given him a set of keys. Gil Carter was stepping down as interim manager, and Stefan demanded that Clyde wanted the facility open as soon as possible. But Stefan had thought this out and concluded that the only way to end this was to remove Clyde. Stefan revealed his scheme to have Ivan Marais, Vivian Alamain's goon, bring about Clyde's terrible end in prison. Ava felt the proposal was too dangerous, even though Stefan knew he could call Vivian in Alamania and ask her to convey the order to Ivan. Trip Johnson and Gabby Hernandez, Demira might have to pay with their lives if Ivan failed. Rafe Hernandez at the Salem Police Department updated Harris Michaels on a drug stockpile that vanished and threw off an investigation. Rafe reasoned that since it coincided with Harris' disappearance, someone might have taken his keys and entered the evidence room. Rafe didn't hold Harris responsible for allowing it to happen, despite Harris punishing himself for it. Afterwards, Harris discovered Ava with Stefan, who identified himself as the new proprietor of the bistro. Stefan pretended to be discussing some future adjustments he wanted to make at the restaurant, but Ava cautioned them against taking any chances they could later regret. Stefan called Vivian in the town square after reassuring Ava and leaving. On Tuesday's episode of Days, back with Harris, he thought that seeing Ava would cheer him up. Harris clarified that his misplaced keys caused a conviction to go awry and again questioned whether Ava recalled anything, to which she vehemently objected. In an attempt to lift Harris's spirits, Ava proposed that they finally go on the date they had been arranging. On Tuesday's DOOL broadcast, E.J. Demira was back at the police station, ripping up the paper Leo Stark had just signed and acting as though he wasn't going to let him go free after all. Leo objected since Dmitry von Leischner had arrived as scheduled, but EJ drew attention to the fact that he had not signed any paperwork pertaining to the agreement as the DA. Dmitry contended that given the Salem Police Department's dismal history, EJ was unable to make this work without his confession. EJ gave in and instructed Rafe to book him when Dmitry pushed him to accept his large fish and concede the victory. Before Dmitry had a chance to speak with Leo alone, he was handcuffed. Leo felt simultaneously relieved and heartbroken. Though Dmitry acknowledged that he nearly didn't, the thought of giving up his independence for Leo meant a lot to him. As a result, Dmitry informed Leo that Darius Rose, also known as Jackie Cox, was offering to help him leave the country. However, Dmitry chose to stay behind in order to negotiate this on Leo's behalf. Though Dmitry admitted that Nicole Walker Demira's kid was still alive, Leo remained concerned that EJ would break the agreement and reopen the murder case. Before Dmitry could say anything more, Rafe came back to take him away. On Tuesday's episode of Days, Sloane Peterson Brady lost her mind at the hospital, demanding that Eric Brady withhold the test results. Eric pretended that since the test was over, it was too late and advised them to just open them to assuage everyone's anxiety. Given that Nicole was certain the test results would demonstrate that this was indeed her child, Nicole surmised that Sloane was terrified. Nicole was disappointed to discover that the test had shown there was no genetic match when she grabbed the results and opened the envelope. Nicole needed proof that Kayla Johnson's DNA had been compared to the baby's DNA and inquired as to whether there might have been an error. They just used EJ's sample, which was on file at the hospital, as Kayla acknowledged that there wasn't enough DNA on Nicole's toothbrush for the test. That settled it, Sloane said, because there was no question that this was EJ's child. Nicole became angry with Eric for making fun of her when he didn't think this was her baby. Nicole bid the infant a sorrowful goodbye before running outside, wondering how she could have been so mistaken. Nicole was calling out after her, and Eric felt upset at her heartbreak. On Tuesday's episode of Days, at the DiMera mansion, EJ informed Nicole that he had to let Leo go, but gave her the assurance that Dimitri was safe. Nicole was oblivious to EJ's suggestion that he drop the murder charge since she was so caught up in the drama surrounding the DNA test. Nicole told EJ what had happened, and EJ consoled her by suggesting they lie down together. She became enraged with Eric for proceeding with the DNA test without her consent after Sloane and Eric brought the baby home. Sloane questioned Eric's belief that she might be a crazy baby snatcher. Eric pretended not to be concerned until Sloane displayed such an odd response. Eric began to worry that Sloane had something to hide after she began to lose her cool over the DNA test. Sloane was angered by that, but in the police station, she learned that everything was going well with Dimitri and Leo. After calming down, Sloane said she was sorry for overreacting and made amends with Eric. Eric admitted that he had been praying to Street Jude, the patron saint of hopeless cases, recently since the baby lacked a name. When Eric proposed Jude as a name for their child, Sloane accepted right away. According to spoilers for Days of Our Lives, Sloane's secret will eventually catch up with her, so keep an eye out. Days of Our Lives spoilers indicate that after her breakup with Chad DiMera, Stephanie Johnson will require some consolation. You would expect Stephanie would go to Everett Lynch, but there might be issues with that strategy. To begin with, Everett most likely told a falsehood concerning the engagement ring he said Stephanie was the recipient of. Stephanie won't be happy if she finds out about Everett's deceit because it appears far more plausible that Jada Hunter returned her ring following their own breakup. Naturally, since Chad bought half of The Spectator behind her back and forced Xander Cook to fire Everett, Stephanie will also be furious about his deceit. All the deceitful men in Stephanie's life would soon be overwhelming her. Stephanie can find herself yearning for solace from an individual she has never dated previously, someone who can provide her with an exciting evening in bed and nothing more. Maybe that's the reason Harris Michaels and Stephanie will end up in bed together. Although it might seem unbelievable, spoilers for Days make it apparent that Harris and Stephanie will be spending some time together in bed over the week of December 11 to 15. That gives the impression that Stephanie and Harris will hook up, but it's conceivable that this is just one of those deceptive scenarios that Days occasionally presents in which they just share a bed. But it's better to get ready for Harris and Stephanie to pull the trigger. By then, Harris might get wasted with Stephanie and end up hitting the sheets with her if his romance with Ava Vitali has taken a bad turn. It's possible that Stephanie and Harris will end up drowning their sorrows in the same bar, which would make it easier for them to comfort one another in bed later. Days teasers hint that discomfort may eventually arise since Stephanie will eventually go to bed with the man Ava Vitali has been crushing on. You can see how this whole Stephanie and Harris thing may turn strange since Trip Johnson is Stephanie's half-brother and Ava is his mother. Though Harris and Stephanie may promise to keep their bedroom skirmish a secret, on DOL, secrets have a way of surfacing. According to spoilers for Days of Our Lives, Stephanie and Harris will need to choose their course of action. Check back for more on all the surprises that lie ahead. Thanks for watching if you liked this video, so please don't forget to subscribe my channel and don't miss any updates.